Something unusual happened in Indiana this week. A vote most people never follow suddenly drew national attention and a very strong reaction from the White House. So, why did this local decision turn into such a big deal?
Because it exposed a rare moment where political pressure didn't work, and the reaction afterward raised even more questions than the vote itself.
Let's start with the basics. What happened in Indiana that triggered all of this?
Indiana's state Senate voted on a proposed congressional redistricting plan that would have favored Republicans by potentially adding seats in Congress. The proposal was strongly encouraged by Donald Trump and his allies, but when the vote came, the plan failed, decisively. By a margin of 31-9, the state Senate rejected it. That result alone was notable, but what followed made it national news.
Trump later addressed this at an Oval Office press conference. How did he frame the loss?
He downplayed it. He suggested Indiana wasn't a priority, that he hadn't been deeply involved, and that it wasn't particularly important to him. From a communication standpoint, that's a familiar strategy, distancing yourself from an outcome you didn't want. But that framing raised questions because it didn't align with the public record.
And that's where the receipts come in.
Exactly. In the weeks leading up to the vote, Trump posted multiple statements publicly urging Indiana lawmakers to adopt the redistricting plan. He warned of political consequences for those who opposed it. He spoke about gaining additional congressional seats. He named specific lawmakers and urged primary challenges. That level of engagement suggests this wasn't casual interest.
It wasn't just posts, though.
No, J.D. Vance traveled to Indiana to apply pressure in person. Donald Trump Jr. made public comments targeting lawmakers, and outside political groups aligned with Trump weighed in as well. All of that indicates a coordinated effort, not a side issue.
One moment that really escalated things involved the Heritage Foundation. What happened there?
Heritage publicly suggested that if Indiana lawmakers refused to adopt the maps, the state could face consequences, including delays or losses in federal funding. They referenced infrastructure, disaster relief, and federal support. Now, Heritage isn't the government, but its close alignment with Trump's policy agenda made the comments highly controversial. For many observers, this crossed from persuasion into intimidation.
MC Nudes. Some lawmakers inside Indiana pushed back very strongly.
MC Nam, they did. Several Republican state senators spoke openly about the pressure they were under, including threats and harassment. One senator described receiving personal threats. Another spoke emotionally about refusing to normalize intimidation as a political tool. These weren't Democrats resisting Trump. They were Republicans drawing a line.
MC Nud. Why was that significant?
MC Nam, because it showed that Trump's influence, while still strong, isn't absolute. State-level officials often face intense pressure from national figures. In this case, a clear majority chose institutional process over party loyalty. That doesn't happen often, and when it does, it draws attention.
But the story didn't stop with that vote.
No, some national Republican figures suggested Indiana should face consequences for the decision. In one interview, a member of Congress was asked whether withholding federal funding from Indiana was appropriate. Rather than rejecting the idea outright, he framed it as hardball politics. That answer alarmed many people, including voters in Indiana.
This raises a broader question, doesn't it?
It does. Should states be punished financially for internal legislative decisions? Supporters argue political leverage is part of governance. Critics argue this undermines federalism and democratic norms. This tension sits at the heart of the controversy.
That same press conference touched on other issues too.
Trump made comments about Ukraine, global conflict, the economy, Venezuela, and immigration. Rather than clarifying his administration's position, the remarks raised new questions. Different topics blended together, sometimes with contradictory claims. For analysts, it reinforced a sense of disorganization rather than control.
Trump also revisited economic claims from his first term.
He described both his past and current economic performance in sweeping terms. But critics point out that economic conditions during the pandemic, inflation, job losses, supply disruptions, complicate that narrative. Again, the issue wasn't just the claim itself, but the inconsistency.
Venezuela came up as well.
A reporter asked whether recent actions were about drugs, migration, or oil. Trump's answer blended all three, without clearly defining priorities. That ambiguity matters, because foreign policy decisions have long-term consequences.
Treasury officials also spoke about AI and competition with China.
They emphasized maintaining America's technological edge. But critics pointed out contradictions with previous decisions involving advanced technology exports. Whether intentional or not, these mixed signals weaken strategic messaging.
So, what's the bigger picture here?
This wasn't just a bad week or a lost vote. It revealed fractures between national pressure and state independence, between rhetoric and record, between loyalty and institutional limits. Indiana's vote mattered because it showed resistance can still happen.